This is going to go over the worksheet that you were asked to do about the settings in The Great Gatsby. And basically, there are four main settings. Everything in the story takes place either in East Egg, West Egg, Manhattan, or the Valley of Ashes. And all of these here, numbers 1 through 20, belong in a specific one of those settings. So you could make the argument that a few of these belong in more than one, which we'll talk about as we go. But here are your answers. Number 1, old money. That belongs in East Egg. People in East Egg have old money, which means they've been rich all their lives. It's a different type of money than new money, which belongs in West Egg. The people in West Egg are new money people. They are also extremely rich, but this wealth is new to them. They lack all of the social cues that come along with being rich. They don't necessarily know how to act like a rich person. And there are lots of different differences between old money and new money, which we'll continue to talk about as we read this story. Gray and bleak. Which one of these settings is gray and bleak? Of course, that is associated with the Valley of Ashes. Everything there is covered in dirt and dust and has this gray overcast. It is less fashionable to say that you live in West Egg, and it is more fashionable to say that you live in East Egg. The people at East Egg kind of flip their noses up at the people who live in West Egg because they are just new money people. They don't have the class. They don't have the sophistication. They weren't bred with money, so they may not know which fork to use at a fancy dinner party, whereas the people in East Egg are well versed in different types of etiquette. The place where bootleggers flourish, that's going to be Manhattan. That's where a lot of the exchange of alcohol and money takes place. That's where people are buying and selling alcohol. That's where all the bootleggers are making their money. The desolate wasteland is in the Valley of Ashes. That is described as a desolate wasteland many times throughout the story. That is also where we see the billboard with Dr. T.J. Eckleberg's glasses. That is also where we see George Wilson's repair garage. He and Myrtle live in the Valley of Ashes, and they actually live in an apartment over his garage. So they just live kind of on top of the place where he works. It's very snobbish in East Egg. Again, they flip their noses up at everybody else. The place where money is made, Manhattan. You see Nick getting on the train every day from West Egg to Manhattan to go to work, and that's where most people go to work. West Egg is less sophisticated than East Egg. The place where there is greed and corruption would be Manhattan, because again, that's where all the business deals are taking place. You could make the argument that East Egg is full of greed and corruption as well, or really kind of any of these settings during the time period of the 1920s, but it kind of most belongs in Manhattan. The railroad, of course, is in the Valley of Ashes. It goes right through the Valley of Ashes to get into Manhattan. The people who work for their money are West Eggers. The people who were born into their money are East Eggers. It's a little bit more friendly, less formal in West Egg. So people are more open to different things, or kind of even like boisterous or rowdy things. East Egg would kind of say that they don't want anything to do with the people in West Egg. Speakeasies are in Manhattan, so again, they're underground clubs where people were able to kind of like drink and party all night without the cops bothering them. Condescending, we're going to put that in East Egg because again, they look down on everyone else, especially new money people, especially people who live in West Egg. And last but not least, the place where anything goes, that's going to be Manhattan. So there were crazy parties going on. This was the roaring 20s. It was very riotous. And in fact, if you think back to chapter 1, when the book opens, Nick Carraway tells us that he decided to move east and his family was a little bit upset about it. They were kind of like raising their eyebrows about it, not sure if it was the best place for him, because people from the Midwest looked at the East Coast as this place where it kind of lacked any sort of morals. They knew what was going on in Manhattan at the time, where people were going underground and drinking, and that there was all this kind of organized crime taking place. And so Manhattan would be the place where anything goes. Okay, thanks for watching.